I'm Jane Epsom and this is my prediction and breakdown of UFC Fight Night Seattle. Henry Cejudo versus Yadong. Decent card. I'll give the UFC credit. 7 canceled fights and they somehow still got 13 fights up in this card. Some of these fights are fun. Some of them, a lot of debuts, a lot of guys that shouldn't, But other than that, we got a nice main event. I think Yadong is going to beat Cejudo, but before we can get to that, let's get on to the first fight of the night. We have Bukauskas versus Rafael. I'm going to go with Bukauskas, man. He trains with Tom Aspinall and a bunch of heavyweights, obviously, over there in England. But in his last fight out against Marcin Prachnio, it was a pretty good win, man. And he kind of came back in that fight, showed dominance in the fight, and finished Marcin Prado. And Rafael is really not that good, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna trust more in Bukauskas, his resurgence in the UFC. Man lost 3 in a row after winning his debut, got cut. He's been on a tear. Well, he was on a tear when he came back. Beat Tyson Pedro, beat Zach Paonga, got knocked out by Victor Petrino, but man, and went against Marcin Prachnio, and he's back in there. Rafael, man, I don't know, dude. He's just, I don't know. He got knocked out super quick by Ibo Aslan, and he's just one of those guys that was in a really bad promotion. He's not in really good promotions out there. We don't even know what type of guys he's fighting out there. So this is a test for him. I think Bukauskas, man, a lot of UFC fights under his belt, man. A lot of good experience, great training. I think he's gonna get the win over Rafael. But let's get on to the next fight, man. We have Nursulton Ruziboev versus Eric Mcconico or Mcconico, whatever. He's UFC debut. Should not even be here, bro. I'm gonna be honest with you. He hasn't really fought anybody like that. Has one fight in LFA, and that was back in 2023. I'm just gonna go on Nursulton Ruziboev. I know he's a can crusher, but this is a can. They're giving him a can to crush for him to win this fight. And his last time out against Buckley, he did okay. It's a loss against Buckley, who's on a tear. But I think Ruziboev, has to show that he something in this fight. He's a minus 300 favorite. I got Ruziboev winning this fight, but let's move on to the next fight. This one's a lot more interesting, especially because who's making their debut? Mr. OnlyFans, or should I say Mr. Van Zandt. Austin Vanderford is making his short notice UFC debut against Nikolay, Veretennikov, whatever, who he made his UFC debut against Danny Barlow. Who am I taking in this fight? If Austin Vanderford would have had a full training camp, I probably would have picked him. If you look at his career, in 2022, lost to Gengar Musasi, lost to Aaron Jeffrey, and he didn't fight in 2023. He did fight last year in LFA against Victor Romero, but I feel like it's finally time for him to make his way in the UFC. He does have a win against Fabian Edwards too, man, but I don't think he's winning this fight. I think it's just too short notice, and then unless he catches Nikolay, but I think Nikolay wins this fight, dude. Against Danny Barlow, it was a really bad fight, but imagine he made Danny Barlow look bad, and he was supposed to be a highly touted prospect. But I feel like Nikolay full camp is gonna get it done against Vanderford. Probably a submission in the second round, or maybe he just takes it to a decision. But let's move on to the next fight. We have Ricky Simon versus Farid Basharat. Dude, I know I'm gonna pick Farid Basharat. I mean, not Farid, Javid, the other brother. They both are trash. Let's just be honest. The Basharat bros have lost a lot of hype recently, and it's because they're decision merchants, dude. Like, they're not really that exciting on the feet. They have good takedown defense, but when they're on the ground, they don't go for submissions or anything. I'm still gonna take Javid Basharat to win this fight. He did lose to Ayman Sahabi his last time out by decision. He had that no contest against Victor Henry, and before that, he was just decision merching everybody. Yeah, ever since he's gotten into the UFC, I know it's a higher level of competition, but it's just been decision wins for him, and they've been kind of like tic-tac, pebble punches, fruity loop, hooks. I don't know, bro. He's not really swinging like that. I feel like if Ricky Simon can bring the fight to him, maybe he can knock out Javid Basharat, but I don't think Ricky Simon wins this fight. Maybe if he really, puts that American wrestling that everybody's saying is, well, not everybody, DC is still saying that it's good. Maybe, but the dude's on a really nasty 3-fight losing streak. He's lost to the guy who's headlining this event, which is Yadong. Lost to Mario Bautista, and he lost to Vinicius Oliveira last year. So Ricky Simon needs a win before he gets cut. I don't think he beats Javid Basharat. I hope he does, so he can just kill the Basharat hype train for like good. But I think that hype train has already been killed itself. But let's move on to the next fight. We have Nick Klein versus Mansur Abdul Malik. My bad. I'm gonna go with Abdul Malik, bro. Nick Klein stepping in on short notice. This is the dude that literally told Dana White, yo, I think Jon Jones is the best in the world. Got a contract. I feel like Abdul Malik is a real prospect, dude. In his UFC debut, he went out there, knocked out Duskos, nasty. Just knocked out Duskos in the first round, made it look easy out there. He's been on a tear, knocking out everybody. He has a lot of finishes. I feel like he's gonna finish Nick Klein, 6-1. Probably hasn't fought any good comp. I don't know, dude. I'm not gonna pick somebody on short notice, especially with how this card has been scratched, bro, like a ton of times. But let's see what Nick Klein does in there. I'm not gonna pick him though. Abdul, you got this in the bag, but let's move on to the next fight though. This one's a little bit more interesting, and especially because one of my favorite fighters are actually fighting, and it's Andre Fili versus Melsik Costa. I love me some Andre Fili, man. That man, when he's in his zone, he looks good out there. His striking looks good out there. But recently, when he's like fighting against the big names, he's just not good like that. He did beat Cub Swanson last time on split decision. I kind of thought Cub won that, but got knocked out by Danny Gay. He did knocked out Lucas Almeida. Nothing special. Lost to Nathaniel Woods. He did beat Bill Aljo. He's retired now, so that one doesn't mean anything too much, I guess. Anderson Brito. He lost to Anderson Brito. Lost to Bryce Mitchell. Anytime he's facing big comp, I don't know. He just takes that L. But I feel like he can beat Costa, dude. I feel like he really can. I don't know too much about Costa, I'm gonna be honest with you. When I saw this man looking like that crazy, I was like, damn. But he did beat Shailan Nurdenbeki. Pretty good win to have, not gonna lie to you. Well, not really. Not really. I'll take it back. 39-11. That's trash work. Whatever. I lost to Steve Garcia though. Beat Austin Lingo. I don't know. I just I think I'm just gonna go with the guy with a little bit more UFC experience in Andre Fili. I feel like he can touch this man up on the feet. Maybe he can knock him out. I'm gonna go with Andre Fili by decision though, or maybe a KO in the second round. On to the next fight. We move on to Cutelaba versus Ibo Aslan. I'm gonna go with Ibo Aslan. He looked good in his last time out, and you know, a little bit more step up in competition. Obviously, we talked about it earlier. He knocked out Cerqueira. He also has another fight in the UFC, but you know, I feel like this is a little bit a bigger test for Ibo Aslan. But I feel like Cutelaba, he's gotta age, bro. And his last time out, he beat the Ivan Aslan, and it was just a guy that the UFC just signed and gave him a UFC fight, whatever. But when he's not facing a name or just a regular light heavyweight, he beats them. But when it's like a little name or somebody with better skill, he's gonna lose. I think Ibo Aslan has way better skill. He has knockout power. I think he could definitely knock out Cutelaba on the feet. I'm gonna go with Ibo Aslan first round finish. I feel like he just swings in there and knocks out Cutelaba. But on to the next fight. We have Alonzo Menifield versus Julius Walker. Julius Walker stepping in on short notice, bro. You see the photo. I'm gonna go with Alonzo Menifield. Full training camp, UFC vet. Yeah, I know he's been taking a couple L's, dude. But Julius Walker's just stepping in on short notice. Hasn't really fought that much good comp. He's not even in like a really good promotion like that. If you look at what Menifield's like 2 little losing streak, his wins are sorry too. Like, don't get me wrong, loss against Olberg and Azamat Mrsakanov, but he beat Jimmy Crew. He had the little thing with Jimmy Crew. He's just fought like older guys and guys that are not in the UFC anymore. But I feel like he beats Julius right. He's just a way better fighter, I guess, and has more experience. But let's see what Julius Wright brings out there. Let's get on to a real fight. We have Gene Silva versus Melsik Baghdasaryan. I'm gonna go with Gene Silva. You already know this right now. Gene Silva, he's just so good, bro. Like, dude, like, he's really good on the feet. He just has hell of a head movement, fighting in 2 different weight classes. He beat Drew Dober. Just beat Drew Dober nasty, bro. I know it was a doctor stoppage, but dude, he was out there like killing Drew Dober, dude, all 3 rounds. He knocked out George Jordan. He missed weight for that fight, but with the 3 fights that he has, he's just been so good. And Melsik Baghdasaryan, dude, he really hasn't like he hasn't really fought in like over a year. 3 canceled fights last year, dude. Last one was in 2023 against Tucker Lutz. I'm just gonna have to go with Gene Silva, dude. Melsik Baghdasaryan is not really like fighting like that. You have Gene Silva, who's active. He's out of the fighting nerds, dude. Training with Khalil Bahalio. I'm just gonna have to go with Gene Silva, dude. It's like he's a minus 575 favorite on Tapology. Come on, bro. Like, I'm just gonna I don't even gotta say anything else. We move on. Rob Font versus Gene Matsumoto. This is huge for Gene Matsumoto, but he's gonna get fraud checked by Rob Font. Rob Font is, I don't know, the gatekeeper, or I don't know what Rob Font is, but anytime they put him up with a young prospect, he's beating them. He's beaten Kyler Phillips. He's beaten Adrian Yanez. He beat Ricky Simone as well. Like, anytime it's a young prospect, he beats them. And Gene Matsumoto in his last time out against Brandon Katona, I thought Katana won that fight. And Gene looked pretty good, okay, in there, but I think Brandon Katana was a little more active in there. I think Rob Font, Rob Font's gonna do good again in this fight, dude. He was training for Dominic Cruz, yeah, old Dominic Cruz that was on the verge of retiring and obviously ended up retiring after injuring himself in training camp. But I feel like Rob Font takes the O of Matsumoto, unless Matsumoto comes in here looking clean, because against Katana, he didn't really look that clean out there, dude. He was getting tagged by Brad Katana on some pretty good punches, dude. But you look at his wins in the UFC, nothing crazy. He is undefeated, but Rob Font, the way he's like fraud checking all these prospects, I think he has a chance of fraud checking Gene Matsumoto. I'm gonna go with Rob Font. I'm gonna go with Rob Font. I'm gonna believe in my Puerto Rican. Vámonos, cabrón. You're gonna get it done. Onto the co-main event. We have Brendan Allen versus Anthony Fluffy Hernandez. Now this fight right here, be honest with you, holy smokes, tough one to pick. It's a 3-round fight. Fluffy kind of takes time to like get himself going in the 3 rounds. But he comes out winning. In his last time out against Michel Pereira, 5 rounds, he just demolished Michel Pereira after Michel Pereira gassed himself out trying to knock out Anthony Fluffy Hernandez. Brendan Allen almost beat Nasruddin Imavov. Brendan Allen looked good in the beginning of that fight when he took down Nasruddin Imavov, but he was scared to go up on the feet, and he was kind of winning a little bit on the feet, and he was just chasing the takedowns too much. It's gonna be weird because both of these guys are like heavy grapplers. So is it gonna like stay up on the feet? Is one grappler gonna enforce his will on the other? I don't know. It's gonna be a really interesting fight. Who am I gonna pick? I'm gonna have to go with Anthony Hernandez. I think, I don't know. I think he's on a new level right now. He has insane cardio right now too, bro. When he just goes out there and rags dolls you, and I think I'm not gonna say he might do that to Brendan Allen, because Brendan Allen's actually like a great wrestler mixed with jiu-jitsu in there, but I think Anthony Fluffy Hernandez he's gonna get it done, dude. He's gonna get it done. He's a fan favorite. He's been on a tear. I think Hernandez is gonna get it done. Sad to see, because these two guys are like really good. So I just hope Hernandez wins because I want him to win. But I think Brendan Allen might win. He has a really good chance. But we move on to the main event. Henry Cejudo versus Song Yadong. I'm gonna pick Song Yadong. It's not even like Henry Cejudo's 38. He's in his second stint in the UFC because he decided to retire, and he said, you know what, let me come back. And since he's come back, he's just lost, dude. He 3 years out, comes back against Sterling, couldn't beat him. Couldn't beat Merab. Obviously, Merab's the champ now. But Song Yadong, dude, his last time out was against Petr Yan, and Petr Yan is still good out here. Might get the title shot next against Merab. There's rumors of that. And in that fight against Petr Yan, he looked pretty good, Song Yadong. And before that lost, he beat Ricky Simone. He beat Chris Gutierrez. Yeah, he lost that nasty cut in the 4th round against Corey Sandhagen was crazy, but he has really good wins in the UFC. He's beaten some vets. It's crazy that he lost to Kyler Phillips early out in his career. That's when I really thought Kyler Phillips was the real deal, because you're beating Song Yadong was crazy. But Song Yadong, he's been up in the rankings. He's got in here faster. He's been more active. He's a really good fighter. He's only 27. Yo, Song Yadong is only 27, bro. And kid is fighting like highly ranked opponents, dude. Come on. This guy is elite. I think he's just way better than Henry Cejudo right now. And I think he finishes Henry Cejudo. Knocks out Henry Cejudo nasty, dude. I think he knocks out Henry in like the second or first round even. I feel like he knocks out Henry Cejudo in the first round, dude. Yeah, man. I feel like Song Yadong just he's gonna be Henry Cejudo. Yeah, I know Henry Cejudo has that American wrestling. Not even I don't know, whatever. He is wrestling as well. It doesn't matter. Song Yadong's gonna win, dude. I don't care. I'm Gene MMA. Like and subscribe. I got more videos coming out for y'all. I'm out.